What's going on, guys? Crypto Renegade here again with another video for you. And in today's video, this is part 4 of 5 on my series of how to buy Bitcoin. In today's video, we are specifically looking at how to buy Bitcoin with your bank account. These are going to be the cheapest ways that I personally use and have used in the past. So these aren't just random things that I've looked up. These are tried and true methods. These are things that I've actually tested and I've done reviews on them in previous videos and so on. But I wanted to show you the best ways to buy it with a bank account. When you buy Bitcoin directly with a bank account, the fees are extremely cheap. And in some cases, they're free in terms of the fee that the vendor actually charges is nothing because they want you to stay on their platform and they get trading fees and other things. So they want to incentivize you to buy Bitcoin on their platform. However, you can immediately transfer it to any wallet that you want and you don't need to. Either way, when you're buying it again with a bank account, it's much cheaper than with a debit card or even with a credit card, which can be extremely expensive. So if you want the cheapest way to buy Bitcoin, it's going to be with a bank account. I'm going to give you the top 3 ways. Top 2 ways mainly that I use, and I'll throw in a third as a bonus because I've touched on it in another video in this series. But I wanted to include all those ways that I've personally used to buy Bitcoin in the cheapest and easiest, most seamless, and trusted ways possible. So let's get started. Alright guys, so welcome back. We're looking at specifically the top 3 ways that I use to buy Bitcoin directly with a bank account. The first one here is a company you may or may not have heard of called Coinmama. They allow you to buy Bitcoin not only with bank accounts, but with debit cards and credit cards as well, but the fees on those are a lot more expensive. So I tend to focus on with this company, which I've used multiple times. They're very trusted, they're very efficient and quick with the delivery. So I haven't had any personal issues using this company in over the 3 or 4 years that I've been using them. So it's very, very seamless process. In terms of the bank account use, so this is the #1 place that I go when I'm buying specifically with a bank account because they build in the low fees automatically and they don't include additional fees. Now, depending on who your bank is and what country you're in, they may charge additional fees when you're sending to a cryptocurrency-based company. That just depends on your bank. But with Coinmama, they don't charge any extra fees when you're buying Bitcoin directly with your bank account via wire transfer or direct bank login. So it's very simple. You just create the account. They do basic KYC for verification, and then you place the order. As you can see right here, it does show you kind of a breakdown of what the bank transfers are. They limit you on 50,000 USD per transaction, which if you're buying more than that, I tip my cap to you, but as you can see here on the SEPA bank transfers for USD, 0% processing fee, and it does take about 1 to 2 days. The other thing you want to address when you're buying Bitcoin with the bank account is it does take 1, 2, 3, or even sometimes longer days. You know, that's exactly why I stopped using Coinbase, and I won't be recommending them in this video because not only do they charge you exorbitant fees, they take forever, and then they report all your activities directly to the IRS, which is not something I'm a fan of. This is an international company, so they're not going to be doing any of that information. So they allow you to do up to 50,000 USD on each transfer, 0% on Swift bank transfers on orders above $1,000. So if you buy more than $1,000, there's a 0% fee. If you're using a SEPA bank transfer, it's 0% fee across the board. And as you can see, the speed is 1 to 3 business days for each of these. Now, if you're in the UK, they have fast payments up to 50 USD or GBP equivalent, and that can be done as little as 1 business day. Or if you do want to do a debit card or credit card option, again, the processing fees are 5%, but I can almost guarantee you that whatever bank you're using is going to charge a fee on top of that. My experience is it's anywhere between you're going to be spending a total of between 8 and 20%. So I do not recommend it unless you absolutely have to, but the bonus is it's instant. You get paid immediately. You get your Bitcoin deposited immediately onto whatever wallet you want. It doesn't have to stay on the Coinmama wallet or platform. You can transfer it to a hardware wallet directly. You can transfer it to a software wallet, whatever it is that you want to do. But it gives you many options. But the reason I'm specifically mentioning this for the bank account is there's 0% processing fees, but it does take up to 1 to 3 days. This is something that I've used for several years now. I use them frequently. I trust them. I don't feel like I'm getting ripped off in any way like I do with Coinbase or some other companies, but this is specifically who I use as my #1 option. As a backup option, again, I don't typically like to go into these, but I do use Etoro from time to time. Now, this is similar to something like Robinhood. It's similar to something like E-Trade, things like that, where it's sort of a brokerage. And in this case, you can, I want to warn you, the private keys are not yours on here. You're basically buying an IOU for Bitcoin, but I would recommend doing this if you're just wanting to trade Bitcoin into altcoins or other things. If all you're wanting to do is buy Bitcoin specifically to trade, then I would use eToro. I've done this a couple of different times where I've done it just so that I can deposit funds and it's extremely cheap, and they only allow bank transfer or wire transfer, so it's very easy. All you have to do is log in. Once your account's created, you just click deposit on the amount that you want. You choose online banking or wire transfer, and then it will take you to your bank to log in. Very quick, very seamless. Now, this again is 1 to 2 business days. It can be sooner, although my experience is a little bit over 1.5 business days before I got funded. But if you're buying any amount of Bitcoin specifically to trade into altcoins or other things, eToro is the one that I use. I prefer them as opposed to funding directly exchanges. I don't prefer personally to use, to fund Coinbase or Kraken or any other exchanges, international or US, just because they tend to hold your funds a while. They can charge you additional fees, and I personally just don't like dealing with funds directly on the exchange because they hold all the keys and they just have way too much power, in my opinion. But again, there are risks associated with anything that you do, and if I'm trying to find the cheapest way to buy it with a bank account just so I can trade, eToro is another option that I use for that trading option. The third and final option, which I'm going to touch on here briefly just because I have a dedicated video in this series on it specifically, and it kind of goes into how low the fees are and how easy it is. And the third option here is Cash App. Now, Cash App, you can buy Bitcoin directly with any balance that you have in their system. You can buy it with a debit card or credit card. The fees are going to be higher though, but if you have a bank account linked to Cash App specifically, you can fund that to buy your Bitcoin as well. And the reason I like to buy Bitcoin on Cash App is if you're buying in increments at $100 at a time or lower, it's extremely cheap. The fees are way, way, way cheap, in that 1 to 2% range, and it happens instantly. So what's nice about that is you control the private keys, you can transfer it to another wallet, to an exchange, to wherever you want on Cash App, but the buying it directly with the bank account that's hooked up to your Cash App is extremely cheap and extremely effective. So that's something that I like to do as well. So I just wanted to give you a recap of the 3 ways that I use specifically to buy Bitcoin with a bank account, starting with Coinmama is my number one because even though it does take 1 to 3 days, 0%. eToro is about 1 to 2% as well, but it is a seamless and easy process, and it's very effective if all you're wanting to do is trade your crypto into altcoins or other currencies. And then finally, Cash App, again, pretty straightforward. Fees are extremely cheap. If you're buying anything more than $100 on that platform, the fees tend to go up incrementally into a way where it doesn't make sense. But if you're buying, $100 of Bitcoin on Monday, $100 of Bitcoin on Friday, $100 in Bitcoin the next Tuesday, it's very effective and it's very cheap to do those sort of smaller transactions. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up here. This is my video on ways to buy Bitcoin with a bank account directly. If you liked the video or brought out any value, please give it a thumbs up. I would appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. We talk about ways to buy Bitcoin, spend Bitcoin, different locations, ways to protect your private keys, and I do lots of hardware wallet and other reviews on the channel as well. So if you're new, please consider subscribing. And then finally, if you didn't like the video or you thought it sucked in any way, give it a thumbs down. I'd like as much feedback as possible. I'm trying to get better at doing this YouTube thing. So at any rate, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up here. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them in the comments below. I will personally answer them to the best of my ability. And I look forward to seeing you on the final video in this series. That's it. Crypto Renegade out.